Welcome to Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Today, friends, we have an exciting candidate who's going to talk about an exciting race. And they're from a party we've interviewed before. So I am happy to introduce Kelly Doss with the Independence Alliance Party of Minnesota. So welcome to the podcast, Kelly.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
We are glad to have you. If you can get started by kindly giving us an introduction to yourself, a brief biographical sketch.
Sure. Well, I do live in St. Cloud, Minnesota, which is in central Minnesota. I've lived here, probably since 2009. It's where I went to school. It's where I got my bachelor's degree, BA in both psychology and political science. And then I do have a master's degree in political science from the University of Dallas. But my career has been mostly in nonprofits.
Okay.
I've been an executive director. I've done fund development, so fundraising is a big part of my background. I do have a small coaching business, so
Okay.
I do coaching for nonprofits, like leadership and strategic planning coaching. But yes, and I entered the race 2026 for Congressional District 6 here in Minnesota for the U.S. House, which is currently held by Tom Emmer, the majority whip. So, yes, as a forward independence candidate.
Great. So it sounds like your background, your career is perfect for a political candidate.
Yeah, I actually thought after graduating that I would actually enter into the political field, either as a candidate or working in government or, maybe in Washington, D.C., but I'll be honest, seeing how messy and, volatile it could be in that field, it just turned me off. I was like, I don't think I want to go that route. So I did enter the nonprofit world thinking I could help people in a different way. And the reason why I'm running now is, there's a lot of reasons, but I think my life experience has just really helped me become the candidate I want to be and run the kind of race that I want to run. And I think the big push for me was healthcare. That's the real reason why I entered the race. It's a cause close to my heart. I can probably relate with a lot of people as far as their experience in dealing with insurance companies and getting the care needed. So that was a big push for me, was just nothing's being done about healthcare.
Okay, great. That's interesting. I haven't heard that too many times about the reason a candidate got involved in politics, so that's good. So what brought you to the Independence Alliance Party in particular? Sorry for the background. So what brought you there in particular?
Right. So actually, the Independence Alliance Party, they merged with the Forward Party over the summer.
Oh.
So now it's the Forward Independence Party. So it's fairly new. It was just the merging of two parties. So even though this party has a long background in the state of Minnesota, you think Jesse Ventura, for example, when it was the Reform Party. So it's evolved over time. But yes, the Forward Independence Party, what drew me to them was their values. Just looking at their website, talking with state leadership, it was just a perfect fit. It was the way I wanted to run my campaign. And like I said, the values just really closely aligned with mine, especially the values of integrity, ethics, and compassion. So those were just ones that really drew me in.
Okay, great. So you talked earlier about your district. You said it's St. Cloud, and like I was telling you when we were talking before the interview, that I used to live in Minnesota, so I am familiar with the St. Cloud area to some extent, yet not all of our audience would be, so can you please describe the demographics of that area?
Yeah, so, the metro area, I know St. Cloud is about 75,000, but of course we have our little suburbs, so it's significantly bigger than the 70,000 number I give, but yeah, we do have some younger ones because we do have St. Cloud State here, the university, and also the St. Cloud Technical and Community College. So it's a pretty, I would say, diverse. We do have a significant Somali population as well.
Oh.
So yeah, it's diverse. But yeah, I would describe it as purple as far as Democrat or Republican. I'd say it's purple's probably the best way. And I think Minnesota as a whole is kind of purple. You always see it on the maps, the electoral maps is blue, but that's really the metro area. Because once you go outside the metro area, it's a lot of red. So I think Minnesota overall is just kind of a mix of Democrat and Republican. So.
Okay. From what I hear, that's a lot of alternative party candidates like that type of scenario because that means that there'll be people looking for all different types of views.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's actually something like the rural communities have been vocal about is they feel like they're never heard. So it's, that mix of rural and urban. That's how I describe central Minnesota too. We got St. Cloud in our district. We have the city of Blaine, which is a little north of the Twin Cities. So those are probably the bigger urban areas. But yeah, a lot of the district is also, made up of the rural communities.
Okay, that's right, because when I lived in the Twin Cities, I noticed that there was a lot of sprawl. The Twin Cities area encompasses a lot of areas, and Blaine it's further from not very close to the center of the Twin Cities yet because of all the sprawl. It went out there, so that's part of your district all the way out there.
Yes, yep.
Okay, great. So what's your strategy for reaching voters in this election?
Well, I think one of the big complaints about Tom Emmer is that he doesn't really make a presence here. He doesn't do town halls. I think the last one he did was over the phone, and I don't even remember when that was, but and I think 32,000 people or something like that were on that call, but again, you're just only going to take a couple of questions and you're just not making that connection. So for me, it's just really, getting back to the grassroots strategy of just meeting with people, letting them get to know you. So that's been a lot of meet and greets. So, for the past couple months I've been doing that, just traveling the district. Just really meeting with people, letting them get to know me, but also letting them know about the Forward Independence Party too, because that's definitely, it's newer, so people have to get familiar with it too. So, just finding those ways to connect with people on a face-to-face level, but definitely want to stick to that grassroots. I don't take special interest dollars, so I have been spending my own money a little bit. So whatever community support I get from individual voters just goes a long way. So, but yeah, it's definitely a grassroots strategy for sure.
Great. So one of the big issues that are facing this country is something that your state is a microcosm of, namely immigration, because your state was where ICE was, that had the big raids, and it was surreal for me watching it because I used to go to that Target downtown and then saw a picture of ICE agents in Target. So how as a candidate, that's going to be an issue because you say you represent Somalis in your area, and then as well as everyone else in the state. So how are you going to handle immigration with your background and your experience and with your state?
Yes. So definitely the way the ICE agents carried out their, orders and things like that was definitely, it was barbaric. And like you said, it was just hard to watch. And I know for me, I didn't even know Renee Good, but when she was killed, I just remember crying. I mean, this was a human being. So I just think, there's definitely immigration reform, because it's not just the southern border. I mean, I've had friends who, are trying to get here from Europe, and it can take like 8 years for them to, get the immigration process completed. And, it's just definitely there has to be reform. But the way it's been carried out is just unacceptable. So, you're right. It's going to be an issue, definitely where it hasn't been just Minneapolis. We've seen in other places too. But yeah, you're right. We were the center of the world for a while, just with all the coverage and everything. So reform, yes, but it's gone way too far. And, but thankfully the operations have pretty much been reduced. So thankfully for that. But yeah, it should have never have gotten to that point at all. So.
Oh, sounds good. And another issue that your state is also the microcosm for is police brutality, because that was where the George Floyd George
Mhm.
Floyd stuff was in a few years ago during the pandemic. So
Mhm.
what's your approach to police brutality, since that's going to be an issue for constituents in your district as well as the nation at large?
Mhm. Yeah. And I know I've even been reading in our local papers just how hard it's been to even recruit police officers now, just because of everything that's happened over the past couple of years. I know has contributed to that. So I know there's been talk of, well, there's obviously the body cams, having those on. But yes, definitely how they're trained, the screening process. So yeah, and I know that even police officers are in favor of this. So I know people that are police officers or have husbands, and they're in favor of reform because they want to be the best police officers they can be. So, and they
That's
don't
good.
like seeing those instances of brutality. They don't feel like it's reflective of who a police officer should be. So,
That's good. They don't want to be associated with the bad actors.
right, right, yep.
Okay, so that sounds like a reasonable policy. Besides these two issues, what other issues are hot in your area or in your state?
Yeah, well, in my conversations, healthcare, which has been the top issue that I talk about with people, which is actually pretty reflective of if you see the polls, like what are the issues most on voters' minds. Healthcare is usually at the top, one or two. So I haven't
Oh,
been surprised by that. Affordability, of course. We're seeing gas prices go up. But definitely too, I would say in District 6, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about housing stock. There's a lot of housing shortages, which affects, our workforce, because if we're trying to recruit workers here and we don't have places for them to live, so I just know housing access is a big one. Childcare access is another one that's something that people are talking about in CD6. I've actually had a lot of talks about Social Security reform. It's all over the
okay.
news. In 2032, that trust is going to be expended, depleted. So, and Congress really hasn't done anything that's going to help people get 100% of their benefits, because once that trust is gone, people will still be paying in through payroll into Social Security, but to only get like 75 to 80% of your benefits that you're expecting, that's a big hit for people that heavily rely on Social Security. I know I'm expecting when I retire Social Security to be there for me, and this is just something that's frightening not only for people my age but the younger generation. They just don't even see retirement really as a viability. It's just something that's so far off, not just from like how far until the age that they retire, but they just feel like it's not even going to be a reality for them. So I've heard a
Okay.
lot about Social Security, but other topics I brought up that people are really on board with are the campaign finance reform. So all the dark money, all the big corporations.
Hmm.
We've seen just billions skyrocket since Citizens United, that decision in 2010, I think it was. But also the congressional, putting bans on the stock trading. It's just really sickening to see so many members of Congress get rich because of the office that they hold and having that inside information and, making stock trades based on that. It's really disgusting to me and a lot of people. So that one is actually something people have been talking about too, because people are paying attention and they notice that Congress people are getting richer. So,
Okay, so please educate me on this. I've heard
hmm
about that idea about banning Congress people from trading stocks. So what information do they get that the rest of us don't get?
yeah, so they know when big moves are going to be made. So, like even like what's been happening with it in Iran, so they know what's going to happen so that they can make stock trades. So it's just they know what's going to happen before the whole public does, and they know how that's probably going to affect stocks going up or down. So they make those
Okay.
last minute moves before, information is public. So it's really, they have that access to information, and sometimes even their spouses sometimes are probably getting in on that too. So when you think about like how much Nancy Pelosi made and others, it's just when you look at how much they were worth at the beginning when they started in Congress to when they leave, it's not their salary from running or being in Congress that they're getting that wealthy. So, and I know bills have been proposed several times, but they never pass because they're voting against their self-interest if they ban congressional trading. So, yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. So for healthcare, to reform it, do you want there to be universal healthcare, or do you want to deregulate the market to make it affordable, or what's the best way in your mind to make healthcare more affordable?
Yeah. So universal health care, yes, I definitely want it. For one, it's a moral issue for me. There's no reason somebody shouldn't be going to the doctor just because of the cost. Last I saw, I think it was about 35, maybe 40% of people don't go to the doctor just because they don't think that they can afford it. So, which is a very high number. And there's a couple of different models when you think about like the Europeans. So there's the Bismarck model, which Germany has. Which one is probably a kind of closer to what we have here. So we have an insurance industry just like they do in Germany. But in Germany, under the Bismarck model, health insurance plans have to cover everybody, and they don't make a profit. And when you talked about regulation, yes, it is much more regulated over there, which is why prescription drugs are cheaper in Europe than they are over here, because we don't have any type of regulation overseeing the pharmaceutical companies. So, yeah, they can charge what they want pretty much. And then there's the other model too, like what Britain has. So that would be more of like tax payments, kind of like how they fund the public library or anything like that. So it's a little bit of a mix of, there's some government hospitals and clinics, but there's also some private clinics as well, but the private clinics collect their fees from the government. So we could probably take the best of both of those worlds and create something for the American system. But we also have to keep in mind, and this is going to be a factor in, which way we would do this, is if you talk to hospital administrators, they will tell you it's a broken system. So if we were to start all over, it would look nothing like what we have today. So, there is a problem with not only how we fund it, but also, like, how it operates, too. So, we just have to be careful how we would do this. But yeah, when you have nearly 30% of people either uninsured or underinsured, and that problem doesn't really exist in industrial countries. So, we're falling short of the mark. And per capita, we spend probably twice as much as these other countries who have a universal health care system. So we're spending way too much, and we're not regulating anything. Insurance companies are making billions in profits while Americans are getting sicker and our life expectancy is lower than most industrialized countries. So, we have an issue with healthcare.
Great. So do you have a team helping you with this campaign, or you do it yourself?
So yes, I do have a group of volunteers. So yes, I am actually working while I try to run for office, which is kind of juggling everything. But I do have volunteers who also have a full-time job. So yeah, like I said, it's grassroots. I don't have a paid staff, but yeah, I do have volunteers. So I have a treasurer, campaign manager, and a volunteer coordinator. And then I, of course, have people that will help as needed. So I have a volunteer pool as well. But yep, I do have a little bit of a campaign team working for me too.
That's good.
Yeah.
They'll be able to expand your reach and help you get through it. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So Kelly, what can our audience do to support your campaign?
Well, I think just spreading the word about the Forward Party. Like I said, it's really a newer thing here in Minnesota, the Forward Independence Party, since they merged in the summer. But yeah, just really letting know that there are viable third-party candidates. And of course, I wouldn't say no to donations either, but really I think just getting the word out that yes, a third choice on the ballot or extra choices on the ballot, I think that's what's going to create real change. I don't see change coming within the party itself, the two legacy parties. I think how we change how our system operates, ending the gridlock that we see all the time, can only be changed by having some independence in Congress. So I think just spreading the word, that there is third-party options out there.
Okay, so what's your campaign website?
It's dasforcongress.com.
Okay, that's easy to know. For, is it FOR or for the number?
Oh, FOR. Yep.
Okay, great. So I can think about putting that into the show notes so that people who look at the podcast, they can have your address for your website.
Yes. Thank you.
Really, we thank you for coming on the